Hi, everybody. I'm Sherry with the CGH Health Foundation, and welcome to our Growing Healthier Facebook Live program. These programs are presented by the CGH Health Foundation, and our intent is to share important health information with you and allow you to get to know some of our excellent providers just a little better. This month, Dr. Bird is going to be visiting with Dr. Cannell, one of our pediatricians, and they're going to be talking about immunizations. And so that should be a really interesting program. Before we get there, I wanted to talk about some of our programs that are going on at the Health Foundation, things that we're sponsoring. The first of those is a Jerry Fit class, and this is a class for seniors, and it is a strength training class. It is being held on Mondays and Fridays at 10:30 a.m. in the Health Foundation offices in our community room at 2600 North Locust in Sterling. And this is, like I said, a strength training. A chair is used, so balance issues are kind of taken care of there. And it's going to go through August, I think the 3rd, August 8th would be the last class. So plenty of time to jump in. If you are interested, you do need to register for that. And so you can call the clinic number, which is 625-4790, extension 3977. The other thing that we do here is to host a support group for patients and loved ones, family members, caregivers of stroke patients. And that support group meets every Thursday at 1 o'clock. And again, that's in our community room at 2600 North Locust. And if you have some more information about that, or if you need more information about that, you can call the hospital number 625-0400, extension 1916. And then the other thing I want to remind you of is about our community cholesterol screening. These are offered one day a month throughout the year, and it is a screening that gives you the results for your cholesterol numbers, your triglycerides, blood sugar. We take a blood pressure while you're here, and also have time to do a little bit of education about those numbers and what they mean for your health. And those do require an appointment as well, and there's a fasting requirement of 12 hours beforehand. And for more information about that, or to make an appointment for the screening, you can call me at 815-625-0400. My extension is 5716. And before I turn it over to Dr. Bird, I just want to tell you about next month's program so that you can get that one on your calendar. Dr. Bird's going to go on the road, so he's going to fly over to Dixon. And on Thursday, July 10th at 12 noon here on Facebook Live, we're going to be doing a little tour of our Dixon Clinic facility there. And you'll learn about some of the services that we're providing in the Dixon market. And that should also be a really interesting program. So that being said, I am ready to turn it over to Dr. Bird. Are you ready, Dr. Bird?
I am flying to Dixon. I did not know that.
Dr. Bird flies to Dixon.
I don't know if we have a helicopter set up, or I'm looking forward to that. This is my first helicopter ride. Okay, well, thanks, Sherry. Appreciate that. Welcome, everyone. This is Bill Bird, Chief Medical Officer at CGH Medical Center in Sterling, Illinois. And today we're going to talk about vaccinations. And you know what? On our medical staff, I thought probably the best person to have join me was Dr. Warren Cannell. So let's get Dr. Cannell on. Hi, Dr. Cannell.
Nice to be here.
Dr. Cannell is a pediatrician for CGH and has been with us for a number of years. So Warren, welcome. Glad you could join me. And are you ready for a few vaccination questions?
Absolutely. Vaccine, good. Not vaccinating anyone, bad.
Well, okay, I guess we're done then. All right. So first question. I thought I'd just go in a little bit into the history of vaccinations. They're not new. So I'm just curious if you could give us like a brief history of vaccines.
Absolutely. Vaccines, the biggest killer of mankind from a viral perspective is smallpox. It wiped out 8% of the Aboriginal Americans. People that survived were severely scarred. It's been a killer from day one. It ranks up with the bubonic plague as the worst thing humanity has ever had to experience. And vaccines start with Edward Jenner. he was not the first person to figure this out, but he's the one that made it known. What he realized was that milkmaids would get cowpox. Because they got cowpox, they didn't seem to get smallpox. He put the two together, did an experimentation on a child, which today would be considered very unsavory. And we learned that by giving someone's cowpox, it prevents smallpox. And that's when vaccines started. The name vaccine comes from a cow, based on cowpox. Smallpox was the first vaccine. In the early 1900s, we developed diphtheria, tetanus, whooping cough, followed by polio, later by measles, and numerous ones today.
Okay, yeah. So it's been a process to get these in play, and yeah, like for smallpox, if I remember right, that's been officially eradicated. Is that?
It has. Last case was in the 1970s.
Okay, all right. So anyhow,
And that's a victory. When I look at vaccines for measles and other diseases, I love to live in a world where 100 years from now, we don't have measles vaccines or other vaccines because we took care of it today.
yeah,
I didn't have a smallpox vaccine because my grandparents were vaccinated with smallpox.
yeah, yeah. And I know, for instance, like Rotary. I'm in Rotary. Their big thing is polio, and it's always little pockets of polio that are still in existence.
Hopefully, that's next on the list of eradication.
Yeah, for sure. Like, what would you say? Like, so there's been a lot of vaccination stuff in the last 100 years or so. What would you say characterizes the modern era of vaccinations, Warren?
I live in a world, and I'm grateful to live in one, where children rarely die. If you go back to the 1800s, children died all the time. Most of it was diseases like pneumonia, measles, smallpox. There has been some improvement due to antibiotics and clean water. The vaccines have been the biggest difference in our lives. We don't expect people to die. And when a child gets sick, it's rare. It'll never be zero. We're slowly getting there. It's not the answer for everything, but it's made the biggest difference in terms of healthcare for our society, more so than anesthesia, more so than antibiotics. We are developing newer antibiotics. We first started with illnesses. Now we have a new vaccine that prevents against cancer. That's great. Our hope is that, I'm really optimistic about this one, maybe we'll have in the future vaccines protect against autoimmune disorders such as type 1 diabetes.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so things are continuing to evolve. So there are obviously risks with vaccinations. Let's talk about that too. Let's go into that. What are the risks of the various vaccinations that are administered to children? Because that's kind of your area of specialties. And of course, I want you to include in that answer the question, which is the comment that has come up quite frequently in the last 2 or 3 decades, is that of autism as a risk of vaccinations. So I'll let you kind of take on that question if you don't mind.
All right. I don't know what causes autism. We believe it's probably like mental retardation. There are various factors. The biggest factor almost certainly is genetics. Now, the autism scare came from a Lancet article published in, I believe, 98 or 99, where a physician who was trying to sell his own vaccine did a very flawed study with help of trial lawyers promoting this concept. It was done for his own personal benefit. There was no science behind it. And people hooked onto the study. And there's been innumerable amount of research. We don't know fully what causes autism, but I can guarantee you it's not a measles vaccine. That's been studied to death. In Holland, they looked at groups of children that were not vaccinated with measles compared to those that were. Strangely, the ones that were not vaccinated for measles had more autism. I don't believe that vaccine protects against it, but the study and the science is such that I know it's not that.
Yeah.
I wish we had spent so many resources proving how safe measles vaccine was. We could have spent in other areas. Maybe in autistic research in areas that would have made a difference.
How about other risks of vaccinations, just so we're clear on that too?
Okay. Vaccines, in fairness, in rare cases, can cause severe problems. In rare cases, it can cause anaphylaxis where people pass out. And we have to rush in the ER because their blood pressure is low. The other thing we worry about is something called Guillain-Barré, which is a paralysis, which in rare cases can be permanent. I want to be honest and say in rare cases, people have died from vaccines, but it's exceptionally rare. For every 1,000 people are saved by vaccine, one may become deathly ill. Vaccine hurt. They can make you feel a little yucky afterwards, like with the COVID vaccine. Overall, the side effects for vaccines are very small. The vaccine rate for severe reactions has diminished. And a lot of that's due to when I was a child, a lot of children had high fevers, had seizures because we had a whooping cough vaccine. That was 30 years ago. The vaccines have improved. We used to have paralysis from polio, from the old oral polio vaccine. We no longer have that. So side effects we once had years ago, like paralysis from polio, bad reactions from childhood vaccines, we're doing a better job. It's still not zero, but we do see occasional reactions. I've been here quite a while, 25 years. I've seen fevers, limb swelling. That's the worst I've seen. I know there are worse cases around the world, but those are very rare.
We kind of touched on this already, but I'm just going to ask the question one more time. What are the benefits of the various vaccines administered to children, in your opinion, Dr. Cannell?
There are various years ago, before I came to town, every year we would have bacterial meningitis, devastating condition. I haven't seen that. I've seen that once in 25 years. That's all because of some of the vaccines we give. Last year, we had very few children in the last winter. We had very few children in the hospital because we gave the RSV vaccine. So it saves lives, it keeps people out of the hospital, and often prevents children from having permanent problems where they're permanently scarred. And from a personal level, when I was growing up, I had a friend of my mother who had a child that's 2 or 3 years older than me. He had measles as an infant, and he had encephalitis from this. He became basically a vegetable. He lasted for 10 years. It was very sad. And that scars me. People say measles vaccine, why do it? Even if you survive, some people don't survive intact. And it's just painful for me to see that poor man in that condition.
Yeah. And I know in my career, I started medical school in 1990. And somewhere in the 90s, if I remember right, was it the Haemophilus influenza vaccine and maybe the pneumococcal
Correct.
Became available. And I don't know about you, but it seemed to me, and it has seemed to me, that the number of children that first of all were admitted to the hospital, and then the number of children that have like ear infections and meningitis and all those kind of things that used to be really prevalent have gone down significantly in those 3 decades.
Absolutely. You talk to the old docs, they would see epiglottitis, which is a swelling of the flap that protects the airway. This is a life-threatening condition. I've never seen it. It was commonplace 30 years ago, all because of the Haemophilus influenza B vaccine. Yeah. True pneumonias in kids, we still see it. We're seeing less of them. Now, we're not going to eliminate kidney infections. We're not going to eliminate ear infections, but we're really working on eliminating the severe illnesses. We're seeing less and less of it. It's not the end-all and do-all. That's part of the process.
Yeah. You've already touched on measles a little bit, but I'm just going to ask you another question about that, Dr. Cannell. So just shed some light on the current measles outbreak. How does it get started? Who is affected? And you kind of already alluded to the concerns of the children who get the measles, why it's a big deal. But can you speak to that just a little bit more?
This late winter, we've had a major outbreak of measles in our country, involving about 1,100 people. 3 people have died. Almost everyone, with possibly 3 exceptions, were not vaccinated. Best way to protect yourself is to get vaccinated. We've had other outbreaks before, but this is a particularly severe one. It's probably due to a combination of an increase of children and adults that are not being vaccinated, people coming from other countries, that where measles is endemic. Fortunately for us, we've done a good job in the Western Hemisphere of making measles completely free. We need to do a better job in Africa. We need to do a better job in Asia. We're getting there, but that's part of the problem.
Talk a little bit about, I've read this quite a bit, and you're very familiar with it, but speak a little bit about the concept of herd immunity, if you would.
Herd immunity is, for measles, the most vulnerable group are 6 to 12-month-olds. They are in between the ability to get the vaccine where it works effectively and protection from the mother's blood that the baby had before birth. The best way to protect those children is for the mom to be vaccinated, the siblings to be vaccinated, because if no one around you becomes infected with measles, you're protected too. And herd immunity requires a certain percentage of the population to be vaccinated so it can't spread. Now, we can't have everyone cheating, but we have a few people that can't get the vaccine because they have cancer. They are too young. That protects everyone.
Is there a percentage that we're shooting for let's say, for instance, the measles vaccine for herd immunity?
The short answer is everyone, because we're seeing people that we have most people in the United States get it. We do have some herd immunity. The reason it's not spreading like wildfire is because we have some herd immunity. But 1,000 cases are too much. There's never going to be 0 cases if some people aren't vaccinated.
Yeah. Okay.
And I understand people have cancer. I understand children that are too young. I get those things, but we all can do a better job.
Yeah. One other thing that when I was in practice came up on not infrequently would be a parent who would want to do the vaccination schedule different than how it was outlined by the CDC. How do you work with how do you deal with that in your practice, and what are your recommendations on that, Warren?
The government has spent a lot of time studying the vaccines. I wish in the future we'd have one vaccine that would do it all. We're not there yet. We can't combine them all into one. That make the trauma on the kids less. Right now, infants need between 2 to 3 vaccines for some of these visits. And yes, you can space them out, but it's not needed. It doesn't have any advantage. And from my attitude, I recommend against it, because you're providing the child with an additional mild traumatic event. Let's limit that. Vaccines are safe. I give it to my children, but if my child could get poked less frequently, I'm all for that. The other thing is based on faulty logic, which is the antigen theory. Oh, you're giving too much to my child at once. That doesn't really apply. When a baby's born, going through the vaginal canal is 100 times more antigens than all these vaccines combined. And we all agree vaginal births are the best for babies, not C-sections. C-sections are cleaner, but vaginal is better. It works, but why make it hard on yourself?
Just would you go a little more detail when you say antigens? What are you talking about there?
There's a theory that when I give my child a vaccine, I'm giving my child foreign components. And these foreign components, if I can do too many at once, this can be harmful. And that's what antigens are basically, different viruses, different bacteria, different proteins found in the body. These are found everywhere.
Yeah. So it's your body's response to some antibody, something that your body is exposed to. And you're saying that actually at birth, there's far more antigens that at least a vaginal birth, there's far more antigens that
and all the vaccines you'll ever have in your life. Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Yeah, very interesting. What do you see that one, Dr. Cannell?
Yes, and certain vaccines you should not get while pregnant. And there are some vaccines I want you to get while you're pregnant. And your OB doctor knows the difference. And when you're pregnant, different rules apply. For instance, you shouldn't give your baby certain live vaccines while pregnant because your baby can theoretically get infected. Other times you want to take it because they protect your baby. The example is the RSV vaccine. If you are about 8 weeks from delivery, giving the RSV vaccine protects your baby from RSV when they're born. We can give the baby an RSV vaccine, but I'm ageist. I'd rather the mom get the vaccine than the baby. So I also want mom to get the influenza vaccine. So it protects the baby because the baby herself can't get the influenza vaccine herself. Protect her by getting the vaccine yourself. So in pregnancy, sometimes vaccines are good, sometimes they're bad. It depends on the situation. Your OB knows what to expect, and we're doing a better job protecting the baby by vaccinating the mother later in pregnancy.
Very good. Hey, we're about ready to wrap up. Any other thoughts you want to share with the folks that are watching? Any other thoughts on vaccinations that you wanted to share with those who are watching?
Absolutely. I just want to talk about the measles vaccine. Imagine if we didn't have it. If we didn't have the measles vaccine, right now we're seeing a mortality rate of measles about 2%, 3%. Say if that's overstated. Let's say just simply 0.2% of the population would die from measles. That's 400 deaths a year. Right now, we're seeing a hospitalization rate of kids of 20%. Say it was 2%. That's 70,000 admissions a year. And not only do we see deaths, we see permanent brain damage in hundreds of kids. I'm glad we don't live in the world. Let's not go back there.
Okay. Yeah, well said. Dr. Cannell, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today. And for those who are watching, if you found this helpful, informative, please share with those who are in your circles who might be interested. Hey, I'll let you get about your day. I know you have a lot of work to do, but thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Dr. Berg. We appreciate this.
Yeah, appreciate it. Okay, I have a few slides I want to show before I sign out here. So first of all, congratulations to Emily Miller, our Employee of the Month. She works up in our Milledgeville office, so shout out to Emily. And Kaiten Newberg, a Daisy Award winner, if I remember right, for the second time. So Kaiten is rocking it up there in our critical care unit, and congratulations to her. And also we have Rhonda Housengay on the medical floor. So congratulations for the Sunshine Award to Rhonda. And by the way, we had to track Rhonda down. When we gave that award to her, she tried to keep away from everyone who wanted to give her that attention, but she very much deserves it. So sports physicals, $25 for sports physicals. Want to encourage folks to do that. And if you can see in this slide here, CGH will donate $5 back to your child's school to support that school when they have their sports physical. So kind of another little incentive to get as many kids sports physicals as possible. Oh, and yes. Right now, we are remodeling our main cafeteria. And in the interim, at our main clinic atrium is where we have our cafe and where you can get food. I'm hearing that it's not uncommon for folks after they get their blood drawn that they're going over there to get some food too, because it's right next to where our lab is in the main clinic. Yes, and as Sherry alluded to, I am going to be flying over to Dixon to do a tour of that facility next month. So look forward to doing that. Hey, thanks a lot for taking the time to watch this, and please share this with others as you feel led. Until next time, this is Bill Bird, Chief Medical Officer at CGH Medical Center.